Today, we're diving deep into Kate, the project baseline. Now, if you're a level 6 project controls apprentice, you know this is a big one. So, to make it all click, we're going to follow the story of an apprentice named Jody as she gets to grips with this key skill. Let's see how she masters it and how you can too. So, let's jump right in. We're at Iva stores, and things are already getting messy. Their huge Q4 marketing launch is going off the rails, and Jody's manager, Riddle, is not happy. And notice the first thing she asks for? The baseline, the one thing that should be the project's anchor. The pressure is officially on. And yep, this is that moment every apprentice has. Jody's heard the term a million times, but what does it really mean, at a strategic level? Why is it the first thing a manager asks for when a project starts to wobble? That's the big question we're going to unpack right now. Luckily for Jody, she's got a mentor, Adam. He sees she's in over her head and knows it's time to hit pause and go back to basics. So, together, they're going to break down exactly what a project controls baseline is and really understand it at that strategic level 6 standard. So, Adam shows Jody the official definition, and the key words here are approved reference point. See, it's not just some plan somebody sketched out. This is the official yardstick. It's the single source of truth you use to measure everything, every delay, every dollar spent, every win, and it's built on 4 absolutely essential pillars. It all kicks off with scope. This is the what. What are we actually building or delivering? For Jody's project, that means the email campaigns, the influencer videos, the social media ads. Every single deliverable has to be crystal clear. Honestly, a fuzzy scope is probably the #1 reason projects fail. You have to lock it down. Next up, you've got the schedule. This is the when. It's the timeline that maps out all the work. But it's more than just a list of dates, right? It shows how tasks are connected. For instance, you can't start the influencer outreach until the legal contracts are signed. One little delay here can set off a whole chain reaction, like dominoes falling. Then we have cost, the how much. This is your budget, and it's tied directly to your scope and your schedule. Those video ads, the graphic designer's time, the fees for the influencers, it all has a price tag. You've got to know exactly what it's going to cost to get all that work done in that specific time frame. And finally, the one everyone forgets, risk. This is your what if. What if a key influencer pulls out last minute? What if a social media platform changes its algorithm and your ads stop working? A level 6 professional doesn't just make a list. No, you analyze how these risks could blow up your scope, your schedule, and your cost, and you have a plan for what to do about them. And right there, that's Jody's light bulb moment. She realizes the baseline isn't 4 separate documents in 4 different folders. It's one single, integrated commitment. They are all connected. You can't just decide to add something to the scope without thinking about how it's going to affect the schedule, the cost, and even the risks. Okay, so with this new understanding, Jody is fired up and ready to go. She's not just talking the talk anymore, she's about to walk the walk. Let's see how she takes this theory and uses it to build a rock-solid baseline for that Q4 marketing launch. Adam walks her through these 5 steps, and look, it's a really logical flow. First, you get total clarity on the scope. Then you build out the schedule, figure out the costs, and think through the risks. But that last step, step 5, that's the magic. Integrating everything and getting that formal sign-off is what turns a simple plan into a powerful official baseline. And this is so important to get. A baseline isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's a living document. It starts off as a high-level sketch, then it gets more and more detailed. And crucially, it's managed through something called change control. That means any little tweak needs to be formally approved, which stops the project from slowly drifting off course. In the end, it's the very thing you use to judge if the project was a success. So, Jody's new baseline works. The marketing launch is back on track, awesome. But now, a new challenge. She's got to prove she did it for her apprenticeship portfolio, that collection of evidence she needs for her endpoint assessment. So she sits down with her coach, Olivia, to figure out how to turn all this great practical work into solid proof of her knowledge. And Olivia makes an absolutely critical point here for any level 6 apprentice. It's not enough to just say, I made a baseline. For your evidence platform like Aptum, you have to explain the why. Why did you build it this way? Why was it so important for the project's success? That strategic thinking is what really separates level 6 from all the other levels. Now, this is basically your golden ticket for getting your evidence right. Olivia tells Jody, don't just upload the final document. Instead, create a written explanation that tells the story of how you integrated everything.
Then, take the baseline itself and add your own notes to it, pointing out the key connections. And finally, write a reflection on how your work actually solved the business problem. This is how you prove you truly get it. So when you're putting your evidence together, you need to make sure you're ticking all of these boxes. Assessors want to see that you can communicate clearly, that you're using the right professional terms, and that you're always thinking about the why. They especially want to know that you understand change control and how the baseline plugs into the bigger picture of project governance. You know, how the big decisions get made. All right, her portfolio is in. Now for the final boss battle, the professional discussion and the endpoint assessment, or EPA. To get her ready, Olivia decides to run a mock interview, hitting Jody with the kind of tough, strategic questions she's definitely going to face. See, Olivia doesn't ask, what is a baseline? That's a level 3 question. She asks a proper level 6 question. She's testing if Jody can connect this technical tool, the baseline, to a big strategic idea like governance. And boom, Jody absolutely nails it. Her answer is sharp, professional, and it gets right to the point. She shows she gets that the baseline isn't just for tracking progress. It's a tool for making controlled, smart decisions based on what was formally agreed. Olivia's not done yet. She hits her with another classic EPA question, this one all about that integration we talked about. For example, what happens if the marketing team suddenly says, hey, let's add TikTok to the campaign? And this slide just shows Jody's strategic brain in action. She explains the ripple effect. Adding TikTok isn't just a small change. It adds more work, which pushes out the schedule. That extra time and new resources are going to increase the cost. And a new platform introduces brand new risks you hadn't planned for. Understanding that chain reaction, that is pure level 6 thinking. And that's really what it all boils down to. You take these 4 complex, messy things, scope, schedule, cost, and risk, and you weave them together. You create one single, powerful story that everyone, from the person doing the work to the CEO in the boardroom, can actually understand and trust. So the next time you're working on a project, just remember this: your baseline is way more than a technical document. It is the story of your project's promise. It's the story of its journey. If you can master that story, you won't just master K8, you'll be well on your way to becoming a true project controls professional. So what story are you going to tell?